Breaking news. Jimmy Garoppolo was signed to the Raiders on a 3-year, $72.75 million contract. $45 million of that is guaranteed. So we were wondering, if Jimmy Garoppolo was going to be sent somewhere because it seemed like his 49ers tenure was basically over. Kyle Shanahan basically said there's no chance, no future that Jimmy G will be a part of the 49ers. There are question marks of whether or not it'd be the Jets, the Raiders, some other team, the Bucks even were in contention maybe. But it turns out to be the Raiders on a 3-year deal, $72.75 million contract. So I just want to know, do you think that Jimmy G would be a good fit in Las Vegas with Josh McDaniels?
Yeah, I do. I do think it would be a good fit, and I think the Raiders got one hell of a deal. I think that's pretty cheap money for somebody who has the record that Jimmy G has. He has had an injury history, but when he's been out there, he's been a winning quarterback. So to get him for 60, I thought you had 70 some odd million, $72.75 million with $45 million guaranteed. If those are the numbers, I'd say the Raiders got a very good deal.
Really?
Okay, just based on what we're seeing others get, look what Daniel Jones got. He got $160 million for 4 years. With how much his was $82 million guaranteed too, right?
Yeah.
So I'd say Jimmy G's every bit the quarterback that Daniel Jones is. Maybe he's older and he doesn't have as many years left, and maybe Daniel Jones still has some upside that we haven't seen yet. But I mean, you look at those two deals, and I'd say the Raiders, they got a very good deal. I would say maybe Jimmy G wants to stay on the West Coast, I mean, Las Vegas is not that far from, well, I guess it's quite a ways from San Francisco, but his family probably lives in San Francisco, right?
So, no, I'm not sure.
So I maybe that had something to do with it. I thought he would command more money than that.
What do you mean? Why do you think he would command more money than what? How much is it? $24 million a year?
That's pretty cheap, right? The way quarterbacks go these days. Who else is making $24 million?
Almost every single quarterback in the league. I think he has the least amount of money a starting quarterback has in the league right now.
The least amount. That's the least amount of salary.
Yeah, I mean,
lowest salary.
Why do you think Jimmy G is worth more than that?
Because he's been a winning quarterback.
He's not available. He's had two healthy. He has one healthy season.
Other people have injuries too. Look at Lamar Jackson. He's been injured twice now, 2 years in a row. He missed 8 games as a result.
Over 2 years.
Yeah. And their injuries happen to quarterbacks. Right?
Obviously.
There's been a bunch of them that have been hurt.
But when you have one healthy season where you finish it out of the 9 years you played, 9 years you played, and you
go to the Super Bowl.
But what about after that? You haven't been healthy a single season.
Yeah. Well, he got him to the NFC Championship game.
I know.
Not last year, the year before.
I'm fully aware, but he's not healthy. That's why they got Trey Lance.
Yeah. But once they got him back that year, he was healthy the rest of the season. He played a lot of the games that year. I don't think it's all about health. Not all about health. It's about talent too. He's got talent. He's a winning quarterback.
I'm not going to deny that he is a winning quarterback.
I think that was a very good deal for the Raiders. Very good deal.
I don't know about very good, but this was interesting because we played this on the show before. This was Josh McDaniels talking about his QB situation. We put this on the show before.
Totally against it. You putting that up?
Yeah, listen to it.
Yeah.
Look, the goal for us eventually is to have somebody that's going to be here for a long time. You see the teams that are having success right now in our league, I would say in our conference, and specifically in our division. They're young players that were drafted by their clubs, and they're being developed there under the same continuity. But the goal eventually is to try to have a young player here that's going to be a Raider for a long time.
That doesn't really sound like he's against Jimmy G.
Well, Jimmy G, they gave him a 3-year deal, so he's not going to be there a long time.
Well, he's
not a really young player, so maybe they did that to
he's 31.
Maybe they did that to set up the deal, to give him to set low expectations.
He's 31 years old.
Maybe they did that to set up low expectations, and they achieved it. I think that they got a very good deal.
He's 31 years old. I think that's pretty young, compared to the rest of the quarterbacks.
In 3 years, he'll be 34. So.
34.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders got a steal. I don't think this is like, oh my God, they only paid $24 million. Yeah, I mean, it's a steal when, I mean, they were desperate. I mean, the Broncos took Jarrett Stidham away from them for 2 years for $10 million. So they had to do something like this, and Jimmy G really hasn't warranted anything besides being paid like the lowest amount. He's not healthy. He's not available. The best ability is availability. And Jimmy G throughout his career hasn't been available.
No.
In 9 years, he's played 74 games.
Okay, well, he sent on the bench the first 3 years.
Okay, first 3 years. Then he comes over to San Francisco, plays 5 games. Right? 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022. That is what? Was that 4 years? 5 years?
Yeah.
He played 3 games in 2018. He played 1 full season in 2019. And then 2020 to now has not been healthy a single year. So there's 1 full season where we've seen Jimmy G play.
In 21, didn't he take him to the NFC Championship game?
He played 15 games that year.
15. That's not so bad.
Out of 17.
Okay, 15 out of 17. Missed 2 games. It's not much.
Still
and he
not
got
healthy,
into the
though.
NFC Championship game.
Behind a lot of talent and a great defense.
Yeah, and guess what? He's going to the Raiders where he's going to have a...
No offensive line and no defense. So that's already 2 things the 49ers had that the Raiders don't. Raiders are horrible in cornerback.
Josh, what's his name?
Josh Jacobs.
They re-signed him.
He's franchise tagged.
Franchise tagged. Okay, so he's got somebody he can hand off to.
Right.
And he has great receivers.
He has no offensive line, which he had a great offensive line when he was in San Francisco. And he had a top 5, top 10 defense each of his years there, which he doesn't have with the Raiders.
Maybe they have to. Well, the defense isn't going to affect him being on, being healthy on the field.
Yes, it is.
The offensive line does. So maybe they can strengthen their offensive line.
The defense has a large impact on what the offense does. Look at Jameis Winston.
No, if the defense stinks, then the offense isn't going to be on the field that much.
They're going to be on the field way more.
No, they're not. The defense stinks. The other team's going to have the time of possession. They're going to control the time of possession.
If the defense sucks, by the way, if the defense sucks, Jimmy G is not winning a single game. Not a single game. I brought up his opponents. We'll bring that up right now. Is that how many games do you think Jimmy G can honestly win here? Because I have the worst and best scenario. Because I agree with you. The weapons are, you have Hunter Renfrow. You have
well, let me go down through it.
Okay.
I don't think they'll win the first game.
Well, this is not week by week. These are just opponents.
Oh, road opponents. Okay.
Because the schedule comes out in May.
Well, I don't think they'll beat Kansas City. I think
time.
they may split with the Broncos. Okay, that's 1. I think they could split with the Chargers. That's 2. I think they could beat the Lions. That's 3. They could beat Chicago twice. No, they play them once. That's 4. I think they can beat the Colts. That's 5. They probably lose to Miami and Buffalo. They might be able to beat the Patriots.
They're gonna whoop the Patriots.
I don't know about that.
1,000%.
But maybe that's 6. The Jets they can beat. That's 7. And depending on who the Jets have for a quarterback, we'll see. Green Bay they can beat because Green Bay is probably going to go with the young quarterback.
Well, then you have Rodgers on the Jets.
Minnesota they can beat, and I'd say between the Steelers and New York, they'd win 1 out of 2. That's 10 wins.
So you're saying that you think, is that the best?
Possibly they could win 10 games, yeah.
So possibly. So I went through it. They're not going to beat the Chiefs either time. I think each Denver game's a toss-up because I believe Russell Wilson, this is more of a trend, not a blip. So who knows what will happen in those games. The Chargers have a problem with running the ball, rushing defense, and Austin Eckler wants out of Los Angeles. That broke today that Austin Eckler was looking for a trade. So Justin Herbert won't have that talent added to his team. So that could seriously affect how the Chargers offense works. But the Chargers defense had a problem with rushing defense, which is what I guarantee you the Raiders will probably do. The Lions had the 32nd ranked defense. They're probably going to stack on defense right now. So that could be a toss up depending on how everything works. The Bears, I don't know how well they're going to do with DJ Moore and everything like that. Their defense could be really good. They've been adding pieces already, so who knows? Was that they're an unknown, so there could be. I think they could beat the Colts regardless of who they have. The Dolphins and Bills, I agree with you. They're not beating a single time. Patriots, I think they could beat. Jets, depending on the quarterback. Let's say Rodgers is there, then it's a toss-up. If it's, Zach Wilson, I'll give the Raiders the win. Packers, depending on who it is, Rodgers or it's Jordan Love. If it's Jordan Love, I'll give them the win. If it's Rodgers, again, toss up. Vikings, the Vikings are not going to go 11-0 in 1-score games. I think they're regressing, so I think the Raiders could win that. I think they could beat the Steelers, and I think they could beat the Giants. So worst case scenario, they go 6-11. Best case scenario, they go 13-3.
Best case 13-3. That's a pretty big difference, right?
Well,
between 6-11 and 13-3.
Oh, 13-4. Sorry, because it's a 17-game series.
Yeah.
So yeah, that in every single scenario.
So that's a 9-game difference. It's a pretty wide
because
range.
I have a lot of these as toss-ups because I don't know how they're going to do it. The Chargers rush defense was horrible last year. If you had Josh Jacobs, you had another running back maybe. Who knows? Who knows how that offense is going to work, or who knows what that defense is going to hold up.
In the skill positions, they have very good talent, right?
The Raiders?
Yeah.
I know. They have Hunter Renfrow, Darren Waller, and they have Devontae Adams. Same people that Derek Carr had.
And an elite running back.
Josh Jacobs. I know.
But Jimmy G, I think he's a more than serviceable quarterback.
Would you take Jimmy G over Derek Carr?
With Josh McDaniels as the coach, yes.
You would take Jimmy G
over Derek Carr.
Well, Derek Carr had Josh McDaniels last year.
No, but I'm just saying that Jimmy G, I think, is a better complement to the coaching style of Josh McDaniels. I think those two will click better than Carr did with McDaniels.
Who has more talent, Jimmy G or Derek Carr? This is not a question. Not a question.
Probably Carr. I'd give him a little bit of an edge.
I think it's a little bit more than a little bit of an edge. I love Derek Carr, and
Derek Carr got a great contract,
$37.5 million.
Yeah, that's a lot more than 24.
Yeah, but here's the difference, though. The Saints could actually be in contention to win the NFC South. The Raiders with Jimmy G are going to be last in the AFC West.
Oh, you think so? Yeah.
You think Jimmy G could outperform a Russell Wilson, even though I think it's a trend, not a blip?
Look at Russell Wilson stunk last year.
Bad take. Yeah, but then he has a new head coach, which is Sean Payton.
That doesn't mean Sean Payton isn't out there on the field making the plays.
What if I said that about Bill Belichick? What if I say that, Mac Jones, who knows what Mac Jones is? Mac Jones can't be bad. He has Bill Belichick. Belichick ain't on the field. No, it's a bad comparison. So Russell Wilson, even though I think it's a trend, not a blip of him performing badly, it's between Russell Wilson and Jimmy G, and I take Russell Wilson. Mahomes or Herbert?
No, Herbert, I think that in the Chargers, that's a shaky operation there.
What?
Shaky.
How's it shaky?
They didn't play that well last year.
They made the playoffs. Yeah,
but they didn't go very far, right? They lost the first game. And during the season, they just barely got in.
They went 10-7.
Their coaches,
they were the 6th seed.
Yeah,
they didn't barely make it in.
Yeah, well,
the Dolphins barely made it in.
Yeah, well, I think the Chargers are a beatable team. They will be this year.
How? What do you see that could do that?
Just the way they played this past year.
They got Khalil Mack. They got Joey Bosa. They got Derwin James.
They didn't dominate.
J.C. Jackson's coming back from injury. I think that's a bad take. And then the Chiefs. You ain't beating the Chiefs.
I didn't say they were beating the Chiefs.
I'm just saying. So yeah, the Raiders are the worst team right now with Jimmy G leading that helm. They have a worse defense than any one of these teams. They have probably, although the Denver O-line was really bad, they just shored that up now today. I believe they got a left tackle. You're shoring up the offensive line. So I think right now the Raiders' offensive line is the worst in this division.
Yeah.
So this is where, first of all, Josh McDaniels is banking on having the connection work between him and Jimmy G. Okay. This is his coaching career right now. If he can make it work with Jimmy G, he's going to stay as the Raiders head coach for I don't know how many years, play out his contract. If they start off 0-5, Josh McDaniels is gone. Maybe even if it's 0-4, Josh McDaniels is gone. It's going to be a repeat of him with the Broncos. He wanted Tim Tebow. He got Tim Tebow. He won a lot of games with Tim Tebow's first year. The next year, he got fired. Not even halfway through the year.
Yeah.
So this is Josh McDaniels' coaching career right here to see if the connection could work.
You asked if it was a good fit. I think it is a good fit, and I think the Raiders got a good deal. So
I just think you had no other choice. Who else?
There isn't many.
You could draft a quarterback, but the question is Josh McDaniels going to draft a quarterback? At
he might.
What pick? I'm not sure what pick they have, but they have a pretty high draft pick.
Yeah, maybe they will.
But then why would you bring in Jimmy G for 3 years? Because the before this came out, the Texans were reportedly interested in him.
Probably they won't then. I
being
don't
used as a bridge
I don't think
quarterback.
they will draft a quarterback. They'll probably try to shore up the offensive line or the defensive line.
That could very well be, but here's the thing though: is Jimmy G? So let's say they do draft a quarterback. It's just going to be with what the Texans wanted. The Texans were interested in Jimmy G at the bridge.
They don't have a backup quarterback right now, right? Because
Jarrett Stidham's gone.
Stidham went.
Yes. So they need some sort of quarterback, and I think it'll depend on who they bring in, because right now Case Keenum got picked up. It was an interesting. Oh, and also I want to bring this up because
who got Case Keenum?
I'll look at it right now. I'm not too sure off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out here. Here's something that's interesting. So what broke about an hour ago is that Sam Darnold signed with the 49ers.
That's interesting.
Now it looks like this team is going to go from Jimmy G to Trey Lance for a very, very quick second, back to Jimmy G, to Brock Purdy, who got hurt, who got surgery like a couple days ago. Now I think there's a decent chance they start Sam Darnold week 1. Think about that. You went from Jimmy G to Trey Lance, who's played 4 games and completes under 50% of his throws. Then you go up and play Brock Purdy, who has a Cinderella type of a season, gets hurt against the Eagles. Now you're in a position to, because they said they're going to look at the veteran QB market. You're going to go out and you sign Sam Darnold to potentially be your QB1 to start the year.
I think they look at him more as insurance, right?
So you're thinking that they're banking on Brock Purdy being healthy or Trey Lance being healthy for week 1.
I think so.
And that Sam Darnold is what the Josh Johnson was this season, of being a third string, just sitting there.
Yeah, that's what I think.
This is a weird situation.
What do you think? What do you think they're going to
also, we're going to get into it.
They're going to start Sam Darnold? Well, I don't think so.
I mean, you have to if no other quarterback is healthy.
No other quarterbacks are available, but then that's what.
And I guarantee
what they're
you,
trying to do. They wanted to get a veteran quarterback. They got one.
I guarantee you, if Sam Darnold starts week 1, I think that you're going to start off. Let's say Brock Purdy can't go. There's a setback, God forbid, or he's just not 100% for 3 weeks. And Trey Lance, for some reason, they don't feel like he could go. Still needs to develop a little bit. You're going to go 0-3. I don't care what your schedule says. The 49ers will go 0-3 with Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback. Sam Darnold this past year was absolutely horrible. Horrible. By the way, Pro Football Focus listed their top 202 free agents. Sam Darnold didn't crack 202. Baker Mayfield was he was about 108 on the, we're going to talk about Baker Mayfield a little bit later. But Baker Mayfield was about midway through. He's about 108 out of 202. Sam Darnold didn't even make the list at 202. Last season, 58.6% completion percentage, 1,000 yards in 6 games, 7-3 touchdown interception ratio, 8.2 yards per attempt. 58.6% completion percentage.
Now, who else are they going to get? They were looking
Baker Mayfield. Apparently, they were looking at Baker Mayfield, and they decided to go with Sam Darnold. You got Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston could have been a decent option there.
I think Jameis Winston would have been a better option than Darnold.
Then who else you got? You got Andy Dalton. You don't like Andy Dalton.
He might be good in that. You know what? Almost anyone can be good in that offense. They have so much talent.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they don't make the quarterback do too many fancy things there. It's
a very basic offense.
Basic offense.
That's why Jimmy G performed very well there.
Short passing game. So, I don't know. Maybe Andy Dalton could have been I'm surprised Darnold was the guy.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Aren't you? Are you surprised that they picked Darnold?
Oh, yeah. I mean.
I don't know. Maybe they got him for next to nothing. Like, that could be too.
It's weird. Yeah. The actual contract details didn't come out yet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm trying to find how much they paid for him.
Deal.
I can't find how much they actually paid for Sam Darnold, but I don't know. Jimmy G to the Las Vegas Raiders. Josh McDaniels is banking hard on that connection working between him and Jimmy Garoppolo. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.